updates, reports, and presentations, starting with the AFD.
Hi, thanks for giving me the opportunity to talk to you folks today. My name is Dan Flynn. I'm a division chief with the City of Asheville Fire Department, and I'm going to talk to you about something that's new, and I need to express it's not out yet, but it's something we're working on rolling out, and it's going to help fire departments. It's called First Do Size Up, and there's an offshoot. Really, what I'm going to focus on today is something called Community Connect. So first of all, what is First Do Size Up? First Do Size Up is an application that's run on all the computers and all the fire trucks that provides information to first responders while they're en route to the call. This information can come from a number of different sources. It's really a unique thing. It taps into Google, into Bing, into Yelp to get some location information. It also has a connection to our building department, water department, our fire prevention information, utility information, pulls all that together. The bulk of the information comes from the Buncombe County Assessor's Office and provides that information about building size, how many stories there are, if there's a basement, things like that, things that can hurt firefighters. Another way that this information is that we go out and we do, or the firefighters and the crews go out and do pre-plans. They'll go and walk through a commercial occupancy and get some contact information and locate where all the hazards are in that, and they can input that directly into First Do Size Up. The part I'm going to talk to you about is Community Connect, which I'm super excited about. But in continuing on, First Do puts all that stuff in the cloud, puts it all together, and then sends it to computers, phones, iPads, anything with an internet connection. So that's pretty neat. So what is Community Connect? Community Connect is just another, if you think of First Do as the hub of a wheel that gets all this information, well, Community Connect is just another spoke, and it is a way for members of the City of Asheville to log in, create an account, and provide some information that they might want people to know to first responders before an emergency happens. So this is kind of a busy screen, I apologize for that, but this is some of the information that you could provide. So first is your own information, it's your own contact information. Second is, and I think some of these screens are broken out, some information that might be valuable to firefighters about your house that we might not be able to pick up on. Maybe is there an elevator in your house? Is there a sprinkler system? Is there a propane tank that's located near the house, which is all valuable information in an emergency. You can provide some contact information, and the way I would envision, of course, your own contact information is in there, but let's say you're out of town and there's an emergency at your house, you can leave your neighbor's telephone number and say, contact this person, they know where the key is. So don't break down my door if you don't have to. And then there's a section there, and I apologize, this was a mock-up, but there is a disability section that I'll tell you in just a second a little bit more about. And then the last that's kind of neat is pets. So you can see a picture of my dog Brady, the wiener dog, and then my Australian Shepherd. So that lets the firefighters know how to account for pets in an emergency while they're there. I can get this to click forward. So some information, I guess that's a little bit small. The household information, like I said, is first of all, it asks if you're in an apartment or not, because that gives us some different information. We have a lot of information about apartments, but not single-family homes. So, does your house have an elevator, a fire sprinkler system? It does a little fire and life safety education, where it asks you if you have a meeting place, if your house is on fire, where your family gathers when everybody go to that meeting place and stay there. And then of course any other kind of information that you have. This one, and again, I want to note that this page is being redeveloped to reflect functional needs. When we had this mocked up, I just honestly just began the process of looking into how to serve our functional needs community. I didn't really know what to call it. And so after talking to Association for the Blind, Autism, Alzheimer's, we kind of settled on functional needs. It would be a nice way to present that. But this idea all came about during the Autism Awareness Month. Thought, well, wouldn't it be a neat idea if you could upload a picture of if your family had a family member with autism, if you could upload a picture, maybe things not to do as a responder, what to do if they have been triggered, and how to manage that situation. Another great example is, and I believe I saw it on the news, Henderson County has sort of the same thing, but Alzheimer's, people with Alzheimer's walk off all the time. And we are constantly doing searches for that. So you could upload a picture where their favorite locations are, where they love to go to the subway, they love to go stand at the bus stop, so that while we're en route to the call, all this information is streaming. And so instead of going straight there, we could send somebody there, but also start sending people to their favorite locations. Another example would be, well, the way the system works, it's self-monitored, and so about every 6 months, once you register, it's going to send you an email and say, is this still relevant? So one of the things you could do also is, let's say you have someone that had a hip replacement surgery and is not mobile, and they're staying upstairs with you while they convalesce. So you could log in, let them know that information. Then when you get your reminder emails, oh, I need to take Aunt Sue out of there, and you can correct it so that the information stays up to date. And there you can kind of see a list of the things that we decided to focus on. So deaf, vision impaired, Alzheimer's, autism, muscular dystrophy, ALS, Down syndrome, confined to bed, heavy weight, and limited mobility, mentally disabled or other. And so again, you can upload pictures, you can upload documents, and then you can type in there what the special instructions would be for that, to manage that person. And then, of course, there's pets. So, any questions? That's kind of a brief overview. I wanted to it's something we're so excited about, and just wanted to let you know that it's coming. We're very close, I would say, within a month of rolling this out. One of the things that this option also allows you to do is it coincides with AVL Alert, if you're familiar with that program. And so the first thing we ask you with Community Connect is, are you an AVL Alert member? And if not, would you like to sign up? And it will automatically sign you up for AVL Alerts. You don't have to do two separate logins. So.
How are we going to get this word out?
So we have a media plan. We're going to hit social media, of course. WLOS already did a news story on First Do Size Up, and at the end of that story, they indicated that they wanted to do Community Connect. So we probably have a whole story dedicated to Community Connect. And kind of the process, the way it's going to go, we'll have a link on our fire website and on the city websites, hopefully, where you click it will take you to a landing page, and it's going to walk you through everything that you need to know. Another big question is data security. The only people who have access to this information are the firefighters who have the login to it. So it's completely voluntary. If, from a data perspective, if you're not, if it upsets you to do that, then this might not be the product for you. So.
And will it be accessible to the county EMS?
Not at the moment. Right now, through our relationships that we've developed, we've worked on, the county now is working on purchasing this. So it will be county-wide. So from a perspective like me, or from my perspective, someone from Weaverville could be responding to someone in Skyland and have all of Skyland's pre-plan information, as well as when they come to the city to help us, they'll have all of that information, and when we go to the county, we'll have all of that information. So right now it's for City of Asheville users only. Okay. Now anybody in the county will be able to log into it, but the information will only be available to Asheville firefighters for the moment. But they've secured funding and are working out the operational points for the county to get it available to every firefighter in all of Buncombe County, which is really huge.
Right.
So,
I mean, it seems really smart.
Yeah, people who know me, I can talk a little bit. I wanted to just tone it down and let you folks ask questions. And so once it rolls out, I hope you guys will all sign up and let us know.
Yeah, this is innovative. It's great.
Yeah, very good. Thank you.
Okay, next we'll move on to open data update.
Okay, I just wanted to take the opportunity today to give you guys an update on where we are with open data. I think the last time we updated you guys was in November at a council meeting, so we've made some progress since then. And just as a reminder of where we started, the open data policy was adopted in 2015. In April of last year, City Council got a Code for Asheville petition to release APD open data. And then we were asked to work with APD and IT to figure out how we could get the requests released. So here is an overview of the requests and the data sets. And you can see the check marks beside ones that we have completed. We've released use of force, emergency call data, crime reports, citizen complaints, and traffic stop reports. The citation and arrest data is very close. We had actually released and put out arrest data, I think, a week or so ago. But then, as happens sometimes with a lot of large data release, there were some tweaks that needed to be made, so those were pulled back, but then they're working on that, and so arrest and citation will be released very soon. And then the demographic information, HR is working through a process to verify information so that can also be released. So along with the data release, APD has also created sort of a one-stop shop for all policies, forms, data, so it's very easy to get to off their homepage. You can go and get all of this in one spot. So since the release of the information, this is just a look at how many times those data sets have been viewed. And you can see arrests before they, when they were out, they were viewed. So people are using it. People are going there and looking, which is what we wanted. It's a good thing. So the next steps is just to continue to release those remaining data sets, working to validate and improve the sets. Like I said, sometimes there's some kinks that need to be worked out. And then we're also working on moving forward with the community group that has been awesome in helping us work through this process in how we can prioritize the next data sets, not just focused on APD, but citywide.
How often are you all meeting?
So we've met 5 times as a group since that April date, just as we've progressed through things. So the next step is working with a smaller group to develop the process and normalize those meetings, whether they would be quarterly, making sure we're reaching out to everyone who can be brought to the table who is interested in helping.
And what is their feedback on the most recent data sets that you rolled out?
What's the feedback on how they're being used?
How they're being used, and just their feedback on the most recent ones that we released?
I think what I've heard is it's hard to try to understand all of that data if you're not like a techie data person. So what we're also trying to do, and we're going to go to CPAC and do a little bit of a deeper dive starting there, and explaining how to use some of the data sets and what is actually there so that we can do some education around it. But the feedback otherwise that we've gotten is very good, and especially around the process that we've used with the working group. Councilman Haynes has been to all of those meetings, and I think it's been great discussion and helped us improve the data and make it easier to understand. Thank you.
Okay, now we'll move on to new business. And first we'll start with the Asheville Voice for Animals.
Good evening, council members. My name is
it will. Hold on. We can do it that way.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Jeremy Sagadibai, and I'm with the Asheville American Voice for Animals. Thank you for allowing us to present to you this afternoon. We would like to speak about the issue of animal breeding in the city of Asheville. Our presentation will cover the main points seen on this slide. Within the United States, there are countless unwanted dogs, cats, and other companion animals who lack homes and are a major cause of animal overpopulation. These animals come from commercial breeders who operate puppy mills and at-home or backyard breeders. While the Federal Animal Welfare Act sets minimum standards for the care of dogs in puppy mills, these standards are grossly inadequate and enforcement is lax at best. Commercially bred dogs may live in horrendous conditions and suffer from an array of illnesses that are unknown by the consumer at the time of purchase. Many of these animals are eventually euthanized by shelters and humane societies, which is not an effective, economical, or humane solution to the problem of animal overpopulation. In 2016, Buncombe County spent over $2.4 million on animal shelter operating expenses. In the same year, Brother Wolf Animal Rescue, one of several local nonprofits, spent over $2.8 million on rescue operating expenses. These overflowing animal shelters, rescue organizations, and humane societies already have healthy dogs of all breeds, sizes, and ages that need homes. For those intent on adopting a specific breed, there are thousands of breed-specific rescues, over 50 in North Carolina alone. Many pet stores, including PetSmart and Petco in Asheville, have successfully shifted to a humane model that provides space for adoptable animals instead of relying on the sale of commercially bred dogs and cats. Animals are not commodities. The relationship between human beings and animals is a compassionate one. People have been breeding dogs for over 4,000 years for hunting, protection, aesthetics, and temperament. Dog shows, demanding certain arbitrary physical standards, became popular in the late 1900s. With them came selective inbreeding. To create a purebred puppy, two dogs from the same limited gene pool must be bred. Many breeders will use dogs from the same family to create more dogs, called inbreeding. The risk of genetic defects rises significantly with each successive coupling. The 2008 BBC documentary called Pedigree Dogs Exposed caused public outcry and a loss of sponsorship for dog shows when it chronicled many of the health problems that occur when dogs are bred for appearance over hill. Defects include a high risk of skin cancer and tumors, eye and heart disease, joint and bone disorders, skin, immune system and neurological diseases, hip dysplasia, epilepsy, and a decreased life expectancy. As soon as a breed captures the public's imagination, overbreeding increases to match the demand. Again, physical appearances and profit predominate over health concerns. For example, after the Disney movie 101 Dalmatians came out, Dalmatians became popular for their spots. The genes responsible for creating these spots cause high levels of uric acid, which create urinary blockages in these dogs. Cats too. The Persian is deemed unfit to live outdoors due to physical makeup, including breathing problems. Breeding does not just harm animals, it also affects the consumers who purchase them. Each year, more than 2 million dogs and cats are born in large-scale commercial breeding facilities destined for pet stores. American consumers who purchase dogs and cats in clean-looking shops believe the animals to be healthy and genetically sound. However, animals bred for sale often face health and behavioral issues that don't present until after purchase. Problems not only due to inbreeding, but also to a lack of veterinary care and inadequate food, water, shelter, exercise, and socialization. The reality is, bred animals are not genetically sound and generally have significantly shorter life expectancies compared to mixed breeds. The life expectancy for certain breeds is as short as 5 years. These animals frequently develop painful ailments and other medical conditions that impose significant financial and emotional costs on the owners who believe them to be healthy at the time of purchase. The citizens of Asheville have a right to know the facts about their animals' health and what they are signing up for when they buy from a breeder. Despite varying laws regarding licensing and inspection of puppy mills, most states do not adequately enforce laws regarding pet and consumer health and safety and protection from puppy mills that sell sick animals to pet stores.
Good afternoon, folks, council members. I'm Lafayette Prescott. I'm also with Asheville Voice for Animals. The impact of the for-profit breeding is not limited to animals and consumers. The yearly cost to U.S. taxpayers to impound, shelter, euthanize, and dispose of homeless animals is $2 billion. When a substandard dog breeding facility is closed, relocating these dogs can drain the financial resources of a community, local animal welfare entities, and large humane organizations as they scramble to find places for these animals. Towns rarely derive any benefit from puppy mills or from home breeders, as they employ few staff and often don't pay required taxes, license fees. Prevention is the key, and communities should discourage breeding facilities from locating in their areas. Across the country, thousands of independent pet stores, as well as large chains, operate profitably with a business model focused on the sale of pet services and supplies and not on the sale of animals. Many of these stores collaborate with animal shelters and rescue organizations to offer space and support for showcasing adoptable homeless pets on their premises. What we propose: Asheville Voice for Animals and its 800-plus member voting bloc requests that the Asheville City Council, having proven itself to be progressive in the past when it comes to animal welfare issues, once again take a stand in the best interest of animals, citizens, and community resources. Our first proposal: our city ordinance currently allows a dog owner to pay a one-time fee of $100 in exchange for maintaining an unaltered pet. This $100 lifetime fee is just a drop in the bucket compared to the money the owners can earn from breeding these dogs. And if the purpose of this fee was to discourage residents from maintaining unaltered pets, it's clearly not an effective deterrent. We propose that the option to purchase an unaltered pet permit be stricken from our ordinances, and that every pet owner in our city be required to spay or neuter any dog, cat, rabbit, ferret aged 6 months or older. Exceptions, of course, can be made for animals that are unfit to be neutered or spayed, have some medical conditions. And also, be aware that there are many low and no cost spay and neuter outlets available here in Asheville, in the city now. Our second proposal is to eliminate the retail sale of dogs and cats, companion animals. City ordinances currently prohibit the sale of an animal in public spaces without a permit, but does little to address the sale of animals in any other venue. In response to this issue, over 300 jurisdictions across the country have enacted ordinances that ban the retail sale of dogs and cats in pet stores. If pet stores still want to make dogs and cats available, they must partner with a 501c3 adoption center. Currently in Nashville chain pet stores that we have in the city currently sell animals. The ones that they do sell, they follow the model now of on a volunteer basis for dogs and cats by hosting adoptable animals from local shelters and rescues. To further encourage positive collaboration between retail and nonprofit groups, we would like to have this model codified in our city's legislation so that any pet store that might open in the future would be restricted from the retail sale of bred dogs and cats, and would instead serve as an extension of the efforts by our nonprofit groups working to place stray, orphaned, surrendered animals that need homes. Ordinances send a strong message about our community commitment to compassion and consumer protection. By adopting these reforms, Council will support the effort of our local animal rescue organizations, help reduce the surplus animal populations, bravely serve as a role model for other communities in the same way that municipalities across the country have done in the recent years. Thank you so very much for giving us this opportunity to speak with you to address this issue. I'd be happy to answer any questions or anything you might have.
Do we have anyone operating a business that actually sells red dogs and cats presently? I couldn't find anyone I looked.
We have, as far as what would be defined as a puppy mill, we also are not aware of any puppy mills that exist in Asheville. There are puppy mills that are in neighboring counties. Particularly one of them is quite atrocious. But we also have quite a few home breeders. And these are the people that have previously been required to purchase an unaltered pet permit. The previous legislation in 2004 with the City of Asheville required the adoption of the unaltered pet permit and required spaying and neutering, which was a wonderful thing that happened. But there's only been 400 permits acquired since 2004. Divide that by 2, which would be a breeding pair, and not many people are abiding by that. Constantly, we're seeing dogs and cats available in the I Wanna, other advertising aspects around the city. They pop up at Walmart and other large venues on street corners of busy intersections, selling them out backs of trucks until the police do come around and say something to them. But in that case, it's usually a move along type thing rather than a fine or something of that nature. So it's going on. Recently, Diane, who is our founder of Asheville Voice for Animals, and I were able to view some areas around the city, some very high-ticket housing areas, which we were very surprised to find had several houses in these facilities that had breeding facilities for registered dogs and cats.
Within the city limits?
Within the city limits, yes, sir.
So folks that have an unaltered pet permit still should be licensed to be breeders, or?
Well, the actual federal legislation is quite vague on that when it comes to a home breeder. The USDA regulates the pet puppy mills who are licensed by the federally, but quite frankly, with budget cutbacks at the federal level, there are licenses purchased, there are permits purchased for that, but the follow-up with USDA inspectors that come into these facilities is few and far between. It just almost doesn't exist. And of that's from 2004. There's only been that few amount of the permits purchased through the City of Asheville.
So I guess my question would be to staff, are these things that we can do, or can we get a report back on how that would be handled?
I would just have one question. Are any of the ones who have banned them retailers in the state of North Carolina? Have banned the ability of retailers to sell bred dogs in the state of North Carolina?
I found it in the state of Minnesota, but I didn't look
Is
for
that
it. and I
yeah,
didn't see it in North
we're
Carolina.
allowed to by state law?
I was gonna say, that would be a real question, is whether we as a municipality have the authority to, we do?
No, I was saying,
No.
we need to confirm
Oh,
legal.
yeah, I mean, I suspect we don't have that ability.
We didn't find, we didn't look specifically in North Carolina. Forgive us, we should have brought that information to you. There was a packet sent to you about 2 months ago that has a lot of information with some sample legislation that is in there. That went to all the city council members and the city manager and the city attorney from the Asheville Voice for Animals. So, but what we were more interested in was rather in the regulation aspect rather than creating new law. We have, if that's possible from the legal standpoint.
Well, if it's not on the books, we have to sort of make the law first and then enforce it, so.
Okay.
I mean, I think we have to first figure out whether, I mean, it would seem like it would be pretty easy for us just to eliminate the unaltered pet permit. We can just say, we don't give that anymore, and we require that you, neuter your pets. Because I think that's a standard already, when you get your tag or whatever, right? I mean, they're not supposed to say.
No, I read that in the ordinance, it doesn't specifically just provide your rabies information.
But but it does require that you
Right, the
neuter.
ordinance.
So, but right now what you're saying is we don't really ask people to verify that their pet is neutered or spayed.
Not on
Not, okay.
It's
Would
a-
we have the ability to just, have somebody do it once for a pet? Rather than every year, because kind of once it happens, I think it's.
I believe the way the ordinance is written for the unaltered pet permit, it is a one-time, lifetime permit.
No, but I'm saying on the reverse side, which is, I believe that we require that every pet be neutered and spayed unless they have that unaltered pet.
Yes.
But, we're not necessarily asking for verification from someone when they get their tag every year. So like if staff could look into what would be something, to ask people to verify that their pet has been neutered and spayed and then discontinue, issuing these unaltered pet permits.
Do we have licensed breeders within the city of Asheville? I would assume we do.
I do not know that any that are currently breeding have a license.
And who do you get a license from?
I don't know. I mean, I just saw that somewhere that you needed a license in order to be a breeder.
Yeah, if you are a breeder, according to the FDA, that's the way that you have to, you should have a license, and it's federally regulated. But at the city level, you also you would have to have a business license, and pay the taxes for that. And we could find no information that anyone had a business license in the city of Asheville. Although we did find cages, people selling them in the Iwana that live within city limits as a cash business.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
would you allow staff just to go back, do some research, and we bring some information back to the committee? Because we just don't know enough right now to respond. So if we can bring back some information and update.
Maybe, and also on what sort of enforcement is taking place presently.
You would bring back the whole, here's the law, and this is who enforces it, in terms of the entity, within city government or state or county, whomever. Okay?
In our organizing for this presentation, for bringing this up, and we had our reasons for doing this to start with, and part of it had to do with all of the homeless animals that we have, and at the Humane Society and at Brother Wolf, there and in the packet that we sent to you, there's a whole list of the breeds of animals that they are taking in, and if you look at the very bottom of the list, the Heinz 57, it's just not there. It's all bred animals. It's not your strays that we're dealing with on a local level. It's just not strays that are out there breeding wild, and all, with exception of course of feral cats. But and that was one of the reasons that we brought it up. The unaltered permit also, as the way the legislation as we read it was, it's not even, you can't even enforce that unless there's another violation. So somebody from animal control would have to be going for dogs fighting or biting or something like that, and then ask the question, do you have an unaltered permit because I see puppies, before that could even be enforced. As our group is, as in our discussions of this and bringing information to you, have decided that we could take it upon ourselves to help educate not only just the general public and our members, but police and fire and all of these people at their in-service meetings, to let them know what these changes could be so that they could better do their job and understand what they are.
Thank you, folks. Thank you for it.
Thank you so much for letting us speak.
Okay, next we'll go to AFB Tax District Modification Agreement with County.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, Scott Burnett, Fire Chief. I'd like for the committee to consider adopting or sending to full council the consideration of adopting a resolution to authorize the city manager to enter into an agreement with Buncombe County for fire protection. Currently, we provide fire protection to 2 areas outside of the city as the primary provider. That's the Biltmore Estate and then an area of Hall Creek that's outside of the city. We have provided that service with a contract to Buncombe County for the Biltmore Estate since 1995, and to that area just outside of the city limits in Hawk Creek since 2009. The county has asked that they distribute the revenue from those two areas to us on a monthly basis rather than a quarterly basis, which is what they do today. That's the major change of this contract, which is how they provide that money to us. The annual amount would still be the same, and this would be continuation of that contract for another 2 years until June 30th of 2021. So our staff recommendation is to move this to the full council for consideration of allowing the city manager to enter into that agreement. So be happy to answer any questions.
Second.
Thanks. And it'll be heard by the finance committee tomorrow as well. So,
My name's Macy Thompson, the financial manager for the police department. The next three grants are all for the police department. The HIDA grant modification number 3 is a new award from the federal government to add to the existing grant that we already have. Last year, we approved 1 and 2, and this is just adding some funds to that. Same purpose for the funds, no cost to the city. There's no match required. This means fiduciary is adding more funds and making more funds available to the people that serve on this task force. The second one is the DWI task force. Sorry. Thank you. The next one is the DWI grant. This is year 7 of the grant. It's just really a renewal. On this one, just for some quick facts, the city has to match 75% of the total, and we get reimbursed the other 25% from the state.
Okay, make a motion to move forward, recommendation to adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to apply for and accept grant funds from the North Carolina government homelessness program.
The last one is a new grant. It's the Bike Safety North Carolina Western Region Grant. It's a small grant, $5,000, but it allows us to help promote education to hopefully prevent motorcycle fatalities.
And it's called a bike.
Safe North Carolina. Yes.
I wish we could rename this motorcycle, but okay.
When I first got the grant, I thought it was for bicycles.
Yeah, I was all
and
excited, and then.
I was too, and then I read it was for motorcycles, and I'm afraid of those, so.
I don't want there to be motorcycle fatalities either, but
This is the first year that they've offered this grant. I think the APD has been involved since 2011 with the bike safety program.
It is.
It is.
Okay, for